Everyone needs to have AI literacy, whether someone is young or old, whether they are faculty or students. This is something that has to be developed within every single person. Now, what I'm going to go over today is foundational knowledge. What is AI literacy? What are the components of it? So this is foundational knowledge. And then on top of that is this aspect of what we should be continually developing, right? So an ongoing lifelong learning aspect of that. We're going to continue to develop our AI literacy. But the big thing I'm giving you right now is foundational information in order to build upon it. Now, the idea here is that this is going to be a resource video that you can use as faculty or that students can use or that anyone can use in order to better understand what AI literacy is and what you need to do to continually develop it and why this is so important to everyone. All right, so let's start off with a basic definition of what AI literacy is. AI literacy is an aspect of good digital or media literacy, and it's best defined as a set of competencies that enables individuals to critically evaluate AI technologies, communicate and collaborate effectively with AI, and use AI as a tool online, at home, and in the workplace. Now, this is provided by media professors and researchers from Georgia Institute of Technology. I really like that definition because it goes through and it provides a broad aspect here, right? So it's this idea of us being able to properly communicate with the AI and then to be able to use it as a tool to help us in all sorts of things, whether that's at home or at work or anything at all. That's a great definition. And that's what we're trying to do with developing our AI literacy in general. Now, AI literacy is broken up into four different components, four different aspects here. We have awareness, capability, knowledge, and critical thinking. Four different aspects. This comes from a book that I've written dealing with AI literacy, imperative and empowering instructors and students. This was put together from all sorts of research that was done by data scientists, AI scientists, as well as interacting with universities around the world. So let's start off with understanding the very first aspect here of AI literacy, which is awareness. We all have to have this awareness that AI is all around us now. It's all around us and it's affecting society, both good and bad. And that's important for us to understand that AI brings with it all sorts of different things. Some of it will be great and awesome and really helpful. Some of it maybe not so. So it's something that we have to really think about. We can't think about these things and be reflective on these things unless we first initially have some awareness. So we need to know that there are many different types of AIs, that AI is around us in many different ways, and that it's being integrated more and more into different applications, different programs. Everything that we interact with is starting to have some AI component. Even our computers, they're going to start to have AI chips. There's chips already being out there in laptops and cell phones. So the AI will be part of our everyday lives. Even without the internet, the AI will still be able to facilitate all sorts of interactions with us because it'll be built into our systems. So that's an important thing to understand as well. Now, as far as how is it affecting society, that's another thing. AI is now becoming a part of many different things, such as it's being used in the government for decision making, for some aspects of decision making, for distribution of information. It's being used in the judicial systems for different things. It's even being used in online dating. It's being used in gaming, all sorts of different things where AI is being used in some way to either help us with understanding information, to help us with distributing information, to help us making decisions, all sorts of different things. So we need to be aware of these things so that we can make purposeful decisions as to whether we want to allow that, whether that's okay, and really be thinking, is this helping society or not helping society? So that we can make those decisions. But again, first we need to have that awareness. So that's component one. Now, component two. Component two deals with capability. What are the capabilities of AI as well as what are our capabilities? So let's look at AI first. We need to understand that there are many, many different AI companies out there that are offering AI services. Here's a brief example of a bunch of them, right? And there's more than just that. So we need to understand, okay, what are the AIs out there? which ones should I use, which ones cost money, which ones don't cost money, what value do I get from different ones. It's important for us to understand the capabilities. Additionally, we need to know that, hey, AIs aren't perfect. Just because they come from a computer and they're using logic, that doesn't mean that the information that they provide is always going to be right. There are still issues with hallucinations, so we need to understand that sometimes the AI can give us wrong information. Now, whether that is done because it was trying to communicate with us and fill in the gaps, or whether it is simply giving us outdated information, or maybe it didn't even have the proper information, that's an important thing for us to consider. So that's a limitation that we need to know about. Now, the next part of that would be the capabilities. Some AIs are better at certain things than other ones. So we need to know what are the capabilities of the different AIs, which one should I use for different things. Some AIs are designed specifically to create images, some for video, some specific for some component. There are also applications that are designed to help you use those AI. So they're kind of like a layer to help maximize the capability of the AI for different things, whether that's for research or for creation of different types of products. There's lots of different AIs out there. So it's important for us to understand the broad spectrum and then look at the different capabilities to see what's the best value for us. Now, finally, when we're talking about capabilities, we also need to be thinking about our capabilities. What are the capabilities that we need to ensure that we're continuing to develop in order to be able to use the AI in the most effective way possible? Well, one of the big things here deals with understanding an advanced prompt formula, because this is part of prompt engineering. An advanced prompt formula is basically broken up into 5/6 components here. It's five main components and then a sixth one here that I'm going to show you as a bonus. The first one is task, meaning what do you want the AI to actually do for you? What do you want it to create or to make? Next comes instruction, meaning that we're giving very specific information to the AIs so that they know exactly what it is that we want. So we want to be specific there with instructions. Next one is context. What viewpoint do we want the AI to take? Do we want it to assume a certain role? Next comes reasons. Why are you doing this? Why are you asking the AI for this? By giving it reasons, we can provide additional information to help the AI in understand your viewpoint, meaning what is the ultimate purpose of this? That helps with giving a better response. And then clarification. This is where you can ask the AI if it needs additional information or if there's anything else that can be provided so as to give a better response. And then finally, the bonus part there is refinement, meaning that you have this understanding that the AI is there to have a conversation with you. So it's never this aspect of, hey, I ask it this question or I give it this task and then that's it. No, we can continue on with this and that. I could say, no, change this or give it some more clarification information or ask for something different. That refinement is part of this conversation, and that's something that you can continually have with the AI. As an example, let's say I needed help writing a cover letter. So I can pose a prompt such as, please assume the role of a business professional in marketing. I'm trying to get a job at XYZ Corp. Write a cover letter for me that expresses how I have 10 years of experience in the field and that I am excited to work in the new field of AI-infused marketing for new online games. Express that I have actually played many games and even worked on helping to develop an online game. So I'm familiar with the intricacies of the business. I'm submitting my resume to XYZ Corp and need a good cover letter. Do you need any other info to give me the best result? So this is an example of an advanced prompt format. You can see here in this example, it then replied and said, yes, I have some additional questions for you. What is going to be your specific role, any specific achievements, your level of familiarity with AI, the position or job title, any personal quality. So by going through and using an advanced prompt formula and asking if it has any clarification, now it's asking me to provide it with more information to make a better end product. So I would simply go through and have this conversation with the AI to get the very best response. Now this can be adapted and changed for any type of situation. Use the advanced prompt formula, make sure you have all the different components and make sure that you say, hey, do you need any additional information? And this will give you a better overall end result. Now, in addition to the actual capability of prompt engineering with an advanced prompt formula, there's sub skills that you should definitely be thinking about. Things like thinking through logically, understanding the problem to begin with, thinking about what are some other things that someone would need in order to properly answer the question. This will help you overall with your prompt to begin with. The next AI literacy component deals with this idea of knowledge, meaning knowledge about AI. And with that, there's several different things. The first one is we need to have this knowledge and understanding that now AI is available to everyone around the world, whether that is a student or faculty member, someone that's in business, someone that's not in business. Everyone now can access AI within any country. Now, of course, there are some limitations in that some countries are blocking some forms of AI. Some countries make it a bit more difficult. There's equity issues in that some people might not have computers or the internet, things like that. But when we look at it as a whole, it is available that anyone could access it given the proper means. So now in understanding that everyone has access, as a business, I need to know that, hey, if I'm not using AI, then a competitor might be able to do more and be able to pass me as far as capabilities because they are using AI and I'm not. In the same way as a student, if I am preparing to go into the workforce, I need to identify that, hey, everyone else has access to AI. They're developing these AI skills. I need to do the same in order to be properly competitive. So these are things to consider as far as understanding that, hey, it's available to everyone. Now, the next part here, as far as knowledge is concerned, is we need to have an understanding of some of the different terminology. There's a lot of different words associated with AI that aren't commonly used all the time. So we need to develop some understanding of that. You might hear things like LLM, that's large language model. You might hear things like AGI, that's artificial general intelligence, which is something where the AI becomes so capable and has so much understanding that it's comparable to be able to do anything that any other human could do, right? So that's a high level of capability that an AI might very well achieve, if not have already achieved. So that's an ongoing issue. There's plenty of other terms that someone needs to develop in order to fully enhance their AI literacy. So those are things to work on. There's lots of different terminologies. Here's some more examples. But that's something that you can continually to develop so that you can better understand AI, you can better talk about AI, and you can develop your capabilities as well. Now, another big part with knowledge is having this knowledge and understanding about what's going on with your information, with your data. When you interact with an AI, how safe is your information? Data security issues. Whenever you sign up for an AI or you go to use an AI, it's important for you to look at their stipulations, their statements there as far as an agreement dealing with your user data, right? So privacy concerns, privacy policies, look and actually read those things because that will tell you how they plan to use your data, your information. Many companies now are using your interactions with the AI to train future models, or they might use it to change current models. So you need to be aware of that. If you're okay with that, okay, fine. But if you're not, then usually there are settings that you can change to make it so that they aren't using your data. So that's one aspect. Another part of that is that if you're working for a company and it's proprietary information or it's copyrighted information, then you need to make sure that you have an understanding. Is it okay for you to put in that information? It might be against company policy to put in that information into an AI that's freely available that could be trained for other models. So be sure that you're aware of that and understand current policies, whether that's in a school or at a business or anywhere in government as well. And then finally, we need to have this understanding about how AI can be used. AI is providing us with so much capabilities. It's a great enhancement tool. It's being used in many different ways for research, for advancement, for creativity, so many different great things. Hollywood is using AI in many different ways to accomplish so many great effects and all sorts of things. But of course, AI can also be used in a bad way. So we need to understand that AI can be used for good and for bad. In bad, it can be used to create deep fakes. It can create synthetic data that's used nefariously. So we need to know that, yes, that is a possibility. And along with that, what can we do to counteract that? Now, I made a separate video that talks about great ways to ensure that you are not being deceived by deep fakes or synthetic information. So I'm going to leave that to a separate video. But things like understanding where is the source coming from, is this information logical, or does this just seem like it's some sort of propaganda? All these type of things. So I encourage you to check out that video as well. So that's a key part of AI literacy is knowledge. Then finally, we have the very important aspect of AI literacy, number 4 here, which is critical thinking. We must continue to develop our critical thinking skills, especially in the age of AI. And that's important on a multiple of different levels. The first one, as we hinted before, is that AI isn't always right. We need to have this critical thinking, critical awareness to always validate the information that an AI gives us. In the same way, if we're talking to a subject matter expert and they give us information, we should still validate. We should always be validating. That's what a critical thinker does. So we want to look at other sources. Now, a powerful way that we can use AI is that when we're asking for very specific information, we can tell it to also give us usable URLs, usable links, so that we can look and be like, okay, that's a good link. Let me click on it and let me check it. So let me compare the answer that the AI gave with the source that it said that it got it from. So we can do that now, and we can put that within the link as well, within the prompt when we ask it. So that's very powerful, is making sure that we verify all information. That's a vital part of AI literacy. Going on with that, other parts of critical thinking are things like understanding bias and ethics. Bias is a thing that exists in the world, right? Things might be slanted in a certain way. AI is going to be slanted in a certain way because it's trained on human data. It's been pre-trained. And in the same way, taking it a step further, if we think about an AI that comes from the United States, will probably be slanted in a certain way towards Western values, Western thoughts. But if we look at an AI that's made, let's say, in China or in the Middle East, it's probably going to be altered and slanted, biased in a certain other direction. So we have to take that into account so that when we review the information, when we critically analyze, we can understand that, oh, these are possibilities, so we can account for that. Ethics is a major part here because we need to be thinking, is this ethical? Is this implementation ethical? Let's say we're using AI to assist with customer service. Well, is it ethical to let the person think that this is a real person? Or do we need to have ethical standards to say, hey, I'm an AI and I'm here to assist you? That way the individual at least knows. What about different ethical implementations as far as within a school? If I get an assignment where I have to write an essay, is it ethical for me just to go to the AI and say, hey, do this for me? No, there's probably different aspects as far as that's not ethically correct. That'd be academic misconduct. So we need to know the ethical issues surrounding the use of AI in many different instances. So those are just two examples. So we need to take that into account. We need to look into it to see, are there policies, are there issues, are there ramifications for using AI in many different ways? Along with that is this aspect of human in the loop. If we have a human as part of this process with the AI, well, then that starts to address some ethical aspects. So we need to take those things into account. So human in the loop, part of ethics, is something for us to always be critically analyzing also. Another part of this, continuing on with the ideas of critical thinking, are ideas about impact. What are the environmental considerations here? What are the impacts on the environment as well as on a person's health? Impact considerations, things like use of electricity, use of water for cooling all these computer systems to run our AIs. These are important things to account for. Yes, it is using a lot of electricity. Are we okay with that? What are going to be the things that might affect? Do we need to allocate certain resources in order to ensure that this is done in the appropriate way so that it doesn't cause more pollution? So all these things should be considered as well and part of a critical analysis of AI systems and part of our overall AI literacy. As far as effects on the human, there's lots of things to think about. If we're always using the AI, more exposure to screen time, is that good or bad? You have to weigh that out. And then also things like, what about our skills development? If we over rely on an AI, there's issues of over reliance. We might lose skills. We might be prevented from learning new skills. Are we okay with that? We have to make purposeful decisions as far as what skills we're willing to let go of because we have an AI that can do things for us. but they need to be purposeful decisions as to what skills we want to let go. In the same way, in the past, we used to all have the ability to do really long division, right? Really long multiplication, really long math problems. But of course, we don't need that anymore because now we have a calculator. Now, we still need to have foundational knowledge. We still need to know what we're talking about and understand the fundamentals. But now we have a tool such as AI where we can do so much more. So that's something to consider there. Over reliance is really important. And we need to think about, well, what can we do to help prevent over reliance? So we need to look into it. We need to have critical analysis. I made a video about this too. So now we have this idea of the impacts of over reliance, of things that happen when we interact with the AI. We also need to start to be considering about relationships with our AI, right? As AI becomes more and more human-like, our relationship with this computer, with this AI system is going to change. It's going to become more of a partner, more of a friend, and that could take all sorts of different forms, whether that leads to romantic relationships or just a good friend that we always have with us. We need to consider what's appropriate use, what's appropriate societal impact. We don't want a system that makes it so that this is our only friend and we don't have any other friends out there in the real world. So we need to make sure that we're understanding the use and the impacts of AI with society in many different ways. You see how this now ties in with awareness, right? We needed to have awareness, part of AI literacy, in order to then now be able to do a good critical analysis and critical thinking of the systems in general. So those are the overall components for AI literacy. We saw that we had awareness, capability, knowledge, critical thinking. They all work together. They all overlap with one another. So we need to ensure that we're constantly developing all four of those things. Now, how can we do that? How can we develop it within ourselves? How can we help students? How can we help the elderly? All of this comes in first of all, simply talking about it. If we have discussions, if we bring this up to people, discussions really help for people to start to get a grasp and an understanding of what this means and how it can be used in many different ways. Demonstrations, showing students, showing people, hey, this is how you can use AI. Talking about different policies that are in place, looking at different rules, regulations that will help people to not get into trouble by using AI uh, inappropriately, right? So understanding what's out there as far as ethical aspects to this, helping people by showing them what is an advanced prompt formula, giving assignments dealing with use this prompt. Let me give you a prompt and you use it to help you in developing the skill in improving your capability. Also going over terminology, just having tests on that, having discussions in class, asking students about it. And then most importantly here is using the system. There's so many people out there that still haven't used AI. They're afraid of it. They don't understand it. So by giving people exposure to it, using it safely, now they can start to develop AI literacy because they'll have some experience with it. One of the big things that I do with my students is I have them use AI as a simulator. The AI assumes the role of someone in business and they actually conduct an interview with the AI. Now they do this using their cell phones where now they're using voice because there's so much more emotional connection there. You can see how there's a development there because it seems much more realistic. So there's lots of implementations, lots of ways that we can help people to develop AI literacy. There's different books that you can read about it. Of course, I've published several different books, conferences, online resources, looking at videos like this. But the big thing here is that we want to continue to develop our AI literacy. What I've given you here is good, strong, foundational knowledge about the components of AI literacy. We want to continue to develop on top of that by learning about new resources, new AIs that are out there, new capabilities, new implementations, new ways to use it, new ways to even think about it. So there's lots going on, and we can continue to improve our AI literacy by staying focused and, again, looking at all these different resources and helping each other out. So please, if you got anything out of this, put a comment in the comment section so we can have this discussion, talk about it. What other resources are available? What do you think about AI literacy so that we can continue to develop and help one another? And remember, learning is for life.